After being suspended in 2020, RMDs are back.
Required minimum distributions, that is. We're talking about how they're calculated, what to do when they kick in, and how to work them into your long-term tax plan.
Join us for Retiring Today.
Welcome to Retiring Today. This episode is all about RMDs. I'm here with Loren Merkle. He's a certified financial planner and a certified financial fiduciary. And Loren, you said it great in the headlines. RMDs are back. Where'd they go in 2020?
They are back, and I said it with excitement, but there's no reason to be excited about it because people typically do not want to take out their required minimum distributions because that means that they have to pay taxes on those distributions. Where did they go in 2020? Based on the CARES Act, there was a COVID relief bill that said you no longer have to take RMDs in the year 2020. That's it. So this is 2021, and we are mandated to start taking distributions again.
Do I have to do anything as far as taking those RMDs I didn't take in 2020? Do I have to do anything different in 2021? Take any kind of catch-up RMD, extra RMD?
No, there's no catch-up RMD. So basically, your RMD for 2021 is going to be as if there was no relief of the RMD in 2020. So you go based on the life expectancy tables, based on how your age is, but you are still mandated to take RMDs from your inherited IRAs, from your employer-sponsored plans, and from your IRAs that you own if you are RMD age.
And then what if, so let's talk about RMD age. It used to be 70 and a half, now it's 72. If I turned 72 in 2020, does that change anything at all?
If you turn 72 in 2020, then typically what would have to happen is you would take your RMD by April 1st of 2021. You didn't have to take the RMD in 2020, so if you turned 72 in 2020, you're going to turn 73 in 2021. It just means you have to take your RMD by the end of this year.
Okay. So today we really want to talk all about RMDs, from the most basic, what it is, how it's calculated. Again, it stands for required minimum distributions, to getting a little more complicated to how you can work the RMDs into your long-term tax planning. Speaking of planning though, Loren, this notion of RMDs works into several pieces of the guiding principles that you and the team use to help people retire.
It really does. There's 5 guiding principles that make up a retirement plan. One of the challenges with retirement planning is, what is it? If I were to ask you, what have you done from a retirement planning standpoint thus far, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? For most people, Molly,
saved money. I've invested, right?
It's going to be their investments,
yeah.
The IRAs, the 401k plans, the brokerage accounts, where when it comes to retirement planning, there's so much more that goes into your plan. And you realize this the closer you get to retirement, because you start thinking about all these things. You start thinking about, what are you going to do from a Social Security standpoint? What are you going to do to mitigate the impact of taxes when you take this RMD and you have to pay taxes on it, and you may not want to take it and spend it, you just have to. The legacy planning, the investment planning, all of these things are incorporated within one's retirement plan.
Yes, so the Merkle retirement method, the 5 pieces. So today, really, the RMDs kind of work with the income piece of it, the tax piece, and maybe even the legacy planning piece as well.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So all of these decisions are integrated and can impact the decisions that you make in these other areas of your plan.
Okay, so RMDs, we know they're back. Probably most likely not something you're happy about, but they're back. So let's talk a little bit about why we even have RMDs in the first place.
Well, if we think about the deal that we made with the government, when you invest in your employer plan on a pre-tax basis, you're making a deal with the government that you don't have to pay taxes on that contribution when you put it in, and then the money's going to grow tax deferred. So every single year when that money grows, you're not paying taxes on that growth. The deal is when you take it out, so once you retire or once you obtain the age of 59 and a half, you take that money out to spend it, now you have to pay taxes on it. So that's the deal that you made. But just because you retire does not mean you want to take the money out. Maybe you don't need to. Maybe you have a pension. Maybe you have Social Security. Maybe you have cash that you've saved that you can live your lifestyle with, and you don't have to take the money out. That's why the IRS says we are going to mandate that at some point down the road, you have to take the distributions from this, because again, they've never received a tax revenue from this money. They want to start receiving that tax revenue. So now, based on current law, at the age of 72 is when you are mandated to start taking distributions from this money that you've never paid taxes on before.
And there is a little bit of irony in that, because the big, selling point of a 401k, I mean, when I first signed up for one many, many moons ago, was that your taxable income goes down. This money goes in and you pay less in taxes, but you really get hit as you get closer to retirement.
Yeah, you really can, and that's why the tax planning piece of your overall retirement plan is so important today, because the vast majority of your wealth is probably, if you're like most Americans, is probably in these pre-tax IRAs and 401k plans. So if you just say, I'm retired, I have this $500,000 in my IRA, I'm gonna take it out, you're going to be in the highest tax bracket because all of that is taxable in year one. So there needs to be a strategy, there needs to be intention around how you take this money out to fuel your lifestyle, to provide the income that you need to fuel the lifestyle. And then in addition to that, that $500,000 IRA, at some point the tax bill is coming due. And with tax rates on sale today at near all-time record lows, and most people, Molly, agree that tax rates are probably going to go up, then the strategy is going to be all around how do you pay the least amount of tax on that pot of money as you can and still provide the lifestyle that you require right now, but also 20 years, 25 years down the road as well.
So we've been talking a lot about 401ks, but there's some other types of investments in which RMDs are a factor. What other types?
Yeah, so it's in any of those pre-tax accounts. The most common ones would be your 401k plan, 403b plan, the TSPs, the 457 plans. Those employer-sponsored plans, you're going to be mandated to take distributions, and then your IRA. So when you retire, or if you make a deductible contribution to an IRA, you're going to be mandated to take distributions from those as well. Which leaves the question, what types of retirement accounts do you not have to take RMDs from? So the most common ones that you don't have to take an RMD would be from your Roth accounts. If you have a Roth IRA, you do not have to take an RMD. There is an exception to the Roth account though. If you have a Roth 401k plan, you are still mandated to take a distribution from it. You won't be taxed on it, but you still have to take a distribution. So things get really complex and really tricky when we're talking about all these if-thens, because you think of a Roth account, and most people think they don't have to take an RMD, but if it's a Roth 401 and you don't take that RMD, that's when the penalties become really stiff.
Yeah, that's a good distinction. Okay, let's talk about penalties. You led me to the next question. What are the penalties, for either not taking it or taking it too late or early, or what?
This is really where it gets really ugly, and we unfortunately run into these scenarios quite a bit where people will come to us. They come to our workshop, they hear us talk about the planning and the tax planning, they come in, they talk to us, and they say, I thought I heard you say at this workshop you have to take an RMD by 72. I'm 75, I've never taken one. Well, what that means is you have a 50% penalty on the amount that you should have taken out that you didn't take out, and you still have to take it out and pay taxes on it. So it's a double whammy. Now, in some circumstances like that, you can apply for what I call an appeal to the IRS and say, here's what happened, here's why you didn't take it out, please don't charge me that 50% penalty. And in many cases, they will allow you to get away with that. That's one way to put it. Not a great way to put it.
Is the IRS known for their leniency and their kindness?
Not typically, but if you ask them in the right way, you provide the context around that. In many cases, people have been successful in them giving you relief on that penalty.
But the best thing to do is to take the RMDs out when you're supposed to start taking them out.
Yes, we want to follow the rules. So first, in order to follow the rules, we need to know the rules, and then that's where the plan comes into play, because it will outline, here's what you have to do at this point, here's what you might want to consider at this point, and then it gives you that roadmap. It gives you that path of how to incorporate, engage in all of this stuff, some of it which you know, and some of it which you've probably never heard of before.
Okay, so we've only been talking for about 8 or 9 minutes, and we've learned a lot about RMDs already. So you've got a specific situation yourself. Maybe you have a 401k, maybe it's an IRA, but you have RMDs kicking in for you, or maybe they've already kicked in, and you might have questions about your situation. Here is a great opportunity. It is our 15-minute retirement checkup call. It's a complimentary call. Right now, you can go to merkleretire.com and you can schedule your 15-minute checkup call. We've got a lot more to talk about when it comes to RMDs when Retiring Today continues.
When planning a big trip, do you like to look up points of interest, read restaurant reviews, or map out how to take the scenic route? You may spend days or even weeks getting ready for a week-long vacation. What about the 20 or 30-year journey that is retirement? Join us for a complimentary online workshop, Journey to Retirement, December 9th or 14th at 6:30 p.m. What you can learn from the comfort of your own home in these online workshops will help you plan for the most exciting journey of your life. Register today at merkleplan.com.
I feel like a ton of bricks has been taken off my shoulders. They know so much about everything. I'm getting information about Medicare and Social Security. The Merkle retirement team really knows what it is doing. They knock it out of the park with timely responses and empathetic handling of sensitive issues. Thanks for everything you do, Merkle Retirement Planning.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. We are talking about RMDs, or required minimum distributions. I'm here with Loren Merkle. He's a certified financial planner and a certified financial fiduciary. Loren, I need some clarification because I heard you say 50% penalty, and I'm thinking I want a little bit more quantification on that.
It's a big penalty, so let's make sure we're all on the same page. What I mean by you're going to have a 50% penalty if you don't take out your RMD by the time you're required to is, let's just say your RMD was $10,000. You missed that RMD deadline, there is a 50% penalty on the $10,000, which means you have a $5,000 penalty, but then you still have to take out the $10,000 and you have to pay taxes on the $10,000 as well.
So what, the IRS gets that $5,000?
Yeah.
They claim that money?
The 50% penalty, the $5,000 penalty goes to the IRS, as well as the taxes on the $10,000 you should have already taken out.
Okay, so that's going to lead me into some more questions about RMDs as far as how they're calculated and how they're taken. So let's go back to how RMDs are calculated.
And it's going to be different based on your account. So what we've been talking about primarily for the show, Molly, is RMDs based on an account that you own. And there is a different table, life expectancy table, that you would use for an RMD on the account that you would own. So if it's your account, you want to make sure you're going to the appropriate table that's based on your life expectancy. And the IRS has this all laid out. If you have questions on it, talk to your advisor, talk to your retirement planner. You can Google this table. There's some complexity to it, but you want to make sure you get it right for obvious reasons that we already discussed. Yeah. You are mandated to take out distributions from an inherited IRA, even if you're not 72. So you want to make sure that you're taking distributions out the right way from your inherited IRA, and there's a different table that's going to determine what the mandate is for you to take out. So you want to make sure you get that right as well. And by the way, the Secure Act changed those rules. That started January 1st of 2020. So we want to make sure that we're taking it out based on current legislation, not past legislation. And there could be legislation coming down the road that's going to clarify the Secure Act and the distribution, or could even modify it. So again, this legislation stuff happens all the time. We want to make sure that we're staying on top of it to make sure that you are doing or following the rules the way that you should be following those rules. So it is different based on the accounts, and there's even further exceptions. Let's say it is your account, but you're married to somebody 10 years younger than you, then there's some different distribution tables that you would use for that as well. So we could go on, but the point is, you have to make sure you meet the deadline and take out at least that minimum, and don't try to get it right to that dollar, right? So make sure, let's say your required minimum distribution is $9,997. Well, round it up, take 10,000, take 10,100, make sure you take at least that minimum.
And then basically the IRS sets this up so that you're taking these distributions and depleting, they want you to deplete the account before you die so that they can collect the taxes on the entire account, right?
It's all about generating tax revenue. They've never collected revenue on that money before. They wanted you to take it out, and they're going to charge you revenue on it.
Okay, and then let's talk about taking it out. So you figured out what the RMDs are, you go for that amount, let's just say 10,000. Is there a time of year you ask for that is the end of the year? How does even that collection process work?
Yep, once you have attained that 72, then you have to take that RMD in that year. And you have to make sure that it's done by 12/31 of that year. So you can take it out any time throughout the course of the year. You just have to make sure you have it out by the end. In the year you obtain age 72, again, there's an exception, big surprise. Yeah. In the year that you obtain age 72, you do have up until April 1st of the following year. So let's say that you turn 72 this year, 2021. You have up until April 1st of 2022 to take that distribution. But let's say you do wait. Let's say you wait until March of 22, you take 2021's RMD out. Well, you still have an RMD requirement for 2022, and you have to have that one out by the end of 2022. So if you do wait until that following year, that means in that following year, you will be mandated to take 2 distributions. And remember, when you take those distributions, you're going to be taxed on those distributions. So it could work to your favor from a tax planning strategy to wait until the following year to take the 2, or it might make more sense to spread it out, take the distribution in the year you obtain age 72, and then take the following distribution that next year. It's different for everybody. And that's where this strategy can coincide with your tax planning strategy and your income strategy to determine which option is the best for you.
And it's called a required minimum distribution. Is there ever a time that you want to take out more than the minimum? Or does that not make sense?
Well, there are multiple times. From an IRS standpoint, they just want to make sure you're taking out this minimum. But from your standpoint, to achieve your lifestyle, you might require to take more out to fuel your lifestyle, to fuel your charitable desires. There's a lot of different reasons why you might want to take out more. One of the things we haven't talked about yet, which I know you're getting to, Molly, is the Qcds. So you can actually do a qualified charitable distribution up to $100,000. So if your RMD is only $10,000, you can do a distribution of up to $100,000 direct to a charity and not have to pay any taxes on it.
And that's where I was going. So now we've kind of set up what they are, how it works, how it's calculated. Now they kick in. Some people, they're going to be part of their income, right? They're going to use them to fulfill their goals. What other options do they have once the RMDs kick in?
Many of the families that we work with, they are RMD age, but they're saying, I don't need to take all of, or I don't want to take all of this RMD or any of the RMD, but again, they're mandated to do that. And they have to pay taxes when they do that. So what are some of the other strategies? This is where the qualified charitable distribution can really be effective, especially in this tax rate environment where our standard deduction is so high that more than 90% of Americans are not itemizing their taxes. So they're taking the standard deduction, which means any of their charitable contributions, they are not getting a tax benefit from directly. Well, once you're RMD age, now you can make a contribution direct to a charity through the RMD channel, not have to pay any taxes on that distribution, and it still suffices what your RMD was. So let's go back to the $10,000 RMD example. Your mandated distribution amount's $10,000. You are already every single year contributing to your church $3,000. Your RMD age, you can send $3,000 from your IRA in the form of a qualified charitable distribution direct to your church, not have to pay any taxes on that distribution, and then you take the other $7,000 and you put it in your checking account or you use it for your lifestyle, whatever you want to. So in that scenario, you get a direct tax benefit for making that $3,000 contribution to the church. Of course, the church loves it. You're supporting your community. And then you also suffice the IRS requirements of taking the $10,000 out.
Yeah, that works with churches and a lot of nonprofits or 501c3s. But the key there, too, is the word direct. You don't want to take that money into your possession first, because then you've just all of a sudden lost that tax benefit.
Yeah, you don't want that check being made payable to you. You want that check being made payable to your charity, to your church or your other qualified charity. Otherwise, it does not count as the qualified charitable distribution.
And another neat thing about the QCD, you can start making those kind of contributions at 70.5 before your RMDs actually kick in.
Yeah, let's say your RMD is 72 now because of the Secure Act. You still, once you're 70.5, even though you're not required to take distributions yet, can engage in that qualified charitable distribution.
Okay, we're learning all about RMDs today, and our Ask the Advisor question is about RMDs as well. So here's the question that we got. The question is, when should I start planning ahead for RMDs? If you have a question that you'd like to see us answer here on the show, there's some information on the screen right now. You can get your question to that number on the screen. We will answer that RMD question and more when Retiring Today continues.
When planning a big trip, do you like to look up points of interest, read restaurant reviews, or map out how to take the scenic route? You may spend days or even weeks getting ready for a week-long vacation. What about the 20 or 30-year journey that is retirement? Join us for a complimentary online workshop, Journey to Retirement, December 9th or 14th at 6:30 p.m. What you can learn from the comfort of your own home in these online workshops will help you plan for the most exciting journey of your life. Register today at merkleplan.com.
I feel like a ton of bricks has been taken off my shoulders. They know so much about everything. I'm getting information about Medicare and Social Security. The Merkle retirement team really knows what it is doing. They knock it out of the park with timely responses and empathetic handling of sensitive issues. Thanks for everything you do, Merkle Retirement Planning.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. Here's another look at our Ask the Advisor question. The question is, how can I start planning ahead for RMDs? I'm here with Loren Merkle. He's a certified financial planner and a certified financial fiduciary. And Loren, I bet you have a great answer for that question.
Really, from day one, when we start working on our family's retirement plan, we are already thinking about RMD age. And it doesn't matter what age they are. We work with those primarily who are within 10 years of retiring or already retired. So let's say they plan on retiring at 65. In their age 55, we're already looking at their age at 72 required minimum distribution. The way we look at it is you're 72, if that's when you're mandated to start taking distributions, that's the tax ticking time bomb, where at 72, you're mandated to take these distributions, pay taxes on it, and this tax bomb just kind of explodes. Because it's at that point that you really lose the amount of control that you otherwise had on taking money from your accounts and potentially what tax bracket you fall in. So we are projecting out all the way up until age 72 and then beyond to help implement the most effective tax plan. So we cannot ignore that age regardless of how old or young the families are. When you start your retirement plan, we have to take a look at that and determine what strategies are going to be most effective to remove your money from these pre-tax accounts at the lowest cost, because 72, the control kind of goes away.
Yeah, and one thing you can talk about at least you can have conversations well before 72 is about Roth conversions and if they make sense to kind of avoid this tax ticking time bomb.
That is one of the strategies that's really effective right now for many families, is to take money from the pre-tax accounts you've never paid taxes on it before and shift it over into a Roth IRA, where now that money grows tax-free forever. And what it does is, if you can pay a lower amount or even the same amount of tax on that money now as what you would be able to later down the road, what it means is when you put it to the Roth, now it grows tax-free and it insulates any of the money that's in the Roth. It insulates that amount from tax increases down the road. And also at 72, like we were talking about earlier, you're not mandated to take distributions from your Roth IRA. So again, it enhances the control you have over your retirement money, insulates you from tax increases, but it has to be right for you. Roth conversions do not make sense for everybody. It has to be worked out within your plan to identify, do they make sense? Are there other strategies that you can use from a tax saving standpoint to integrate with your Roth conversions? Or maybe we shouldn't do Roth conversions at all and focus on some of these other tax strategies. All of that is in the plan. But we can't wait until we're 70. We can't wait until we're 72. We can't even wait till we're 68 to start thinking about RMD age. It's most effective. The sooner you start, the better off you're going to be.
And you said the word control, and I understand kind of taking control of these RMDs or doing the best you can, to take control ahead of time, but really the overall comprehensive retirement plan is about taking control. Don't let retirement be something that happens to you. It's something that you plan, that you work through, that you can see all the way to the end. And Journey to Retirement classes, or workshops rather, can show you what taking control of your retirement looks like.
Journey to Retirement workshops do really enable people to take more control over their retirement, enables you to take more control over your retirement, and give you more confidence. These are decisions you are going to make. And it's about making the best decisions for you and you feeling confident about these decisions. So 5 years later, you're not looking back saying, I wish I would have made this decision, or I wish I would have started thinking about these RMDs way back when. You have all that information at your disposal. You know how this decision is going to impact you now, but also down the road. You know how this decision is going to impact you. And we cover the 5 guiding principles of your retirement plan with the Journey to Retirement workshop. So through the eyes of our hypothetical couple, John and Sue, we talk about the different goals that they have, realizing your goals, your objectives, and your retirement vision are probably going to be different. But through the strategies we implement to help John and Sue complete their goals or achieve their goals, you can identify some strategies that might work really well for you as you're trying to accomplish your retirement vision.
So the Journey to Retirement workshop that Loren's talking about is an opportunity for you to learn more about all of the moving parts that are part of a journey to a retirement. So to sign up for the complimentary workshops, go to merkleplan.com right now and you can get all the information that you need. And Loren, people come to these classes, they sit down, they listen, they interact, they ask some questions, and what's one of the big takeaways they get after they leave?
One of the big takeaways is there's so much. I mean, as you approach retirement age, you're already thinking about these decisions, but there's a lot out there that you don't know, and you just don't know what you don't know. So the Journey to Retirement workshops really opens eyes to all of this these different things that you really haven't had to think about before. And it starts allowing people then to organize these thoughts, these ideas of how they're going to accomplish their retirement vision in a very, very clear and concise way.
Yeah, and who is a good candidate? What age should I be maybe to attend a workshop?
If you're within 10 years of retiring or already retired, that's when you want to start thinking about these types of things.
Okay, so we're thinking about these types of things all the time here at Merkle Retirement Planning because that's part of what we do. We help people meet that retirement vision and go on that retirement journey. So you can check out our podcast, It's Retiring Today, for all of your retirement information on the go. And we'll continue talking about all of the pieces of retirement on this show. It's Retiring Today, and we thank you for watching.
When planning a big trip, do you like to look up points of interest, read restaurant reviews, or map out how to take the scenic route? You may spend days or even weeks getting ready for a week-long vacation. What about the 20 or 30-year journey that is retirement? Join us for a complimentary online workshop, Journey to Retirement, December 9th or 14th at 6:30 p.m. What you can learn from the comfort of your own home in these online workshops will help you plan for the most exciting journey of your life. Register today at merkleplan.com.
Thank you so much for watching Retiring Today. We hope you've enjoyed the show.
See you next week.